Samoa Joe, welcome to NXT. What was it like for you to be able to go out there and get that reception from the NXT universe and get to witness it all firsthand tonight?
You know, I have to be honest with you, it felt right. It felt natural. It felt like I should have been here. And after being out there tonight, I know I should have been here all along.
And now looking at the relationship that you have with Kevin Owens, with Sami Zayn, and basically just the aftermath of everything that happened in tonight's main event. Can you give us a little bit of backstory there?
You see, I've fought all over the world. And I've fought Kevin Owens, and I've fought Sami Zayn. I mean, we've brawled all over the Great White North. We've brawled across America. We've had our fair share of battles. And the one thing I've always understood about Kevin is he has a little bit of an attitude problem. He likes to push things to the next level. He likes to be the big dog in charge, the head honcho, the man in the yard who everybody looks to when there's danger in the air. But you see, that's all changed. I'm here now. And I know one thing for sure is that Kevin Owens has never whipped my ass. And now that here I'm NXT, I will guarantee you this, he never will while I'm here. So Samoa Joe has arrived. I have put the world on notice. And Kevin Owens, I'm coming for what you have.
And I'm nice like B.I.G. is. Nice. I'm the greatest of all times. I'ma say it just like Ali did.
The champ is here! Oh, shit. The champ is here! The champ is here!
The evil genius.
The champ is here!
Come on.
The champ is here! The champ is here!
Yeah! D-Block.
The champ is here!
Kiss, what up, my nigga?
The champ is here!
Be sure to check us out at www.wrestlingaudiorevolution.com. Fedcast, War Extra, Vintage Update, and this show, War Weekly. Special presentations, classic War episodes, retirement shows, 24/7 War Radio, and much more, only at www.wrestlingaudiorevolution.com. What I'd like to have right now is for all you fat Mississauga morons.
Nice job.
Even though you don't live there anymore.
No, good show.
To close your eyes,
Uh-huh.
open your legs, pay your respects to the man, the birthday boy, the party starter, the commissioner, Sean Cunningham. Hit his music.
Thank you very much.
You know we had to do it.
I know.
You knew we had to play the song. Come on.
I know.
You're not frustrated, are you?
No.
You don't mind us spoiling you a little bit here for the next hour, Sean?
No.
We missed you. We haven't talked to you in about a week or two.
Yes.
What's been going on? And what are the big plans this year for your birthday? Because we always have to ask you that every birthday show. We want to know.
I don't have a lot of plans this year. I'm gonna have a very chilled out birthday on Sunday, and may have a couple of extra adult beverages, as it were. But that's about all the major plans that there is.
Marlene's gonna take you out though for some kind of meal, I would assume, right?
We haven't talked about that, so I don't know what's gonna happen as far as that goes. Last couple of birthdays, I've been very lucky. She decided to cook very elaborate meals the last few years because she's very good at that as well. So
you might get some of that home cooking, is what you're saying.
Yes.
I didn't mean like that, you pervert.
You were gonna do that.
Yeah, hey, it beats a gift certificate.
It does.
Well, there's lots to talk about, so maybe we need to just get right into the big stuff. Everybody wants to know about the big debut that happened a few days ago on the NXT special. We're going to talk about it, but I do think we need to just go in order.
We do.
Let's talk quickly about Payback, Sean. Your thoughts on this show? I thought in ring it was a very solid show. Not anything you need to write home about, but I thought there were some decent matches. What was the highs and lows of Payback for you this year?
You know what? Payback was I thought a much stronger show than I worried about when I first saw it on paper. That being said, I thought the wrestling was really strong. Dolph Ziggler and Sheamus almost killed themselves in the opening match. And did an amazing job. And everybody else tried to live up to that going forward. Even Bray Wyatt was able to get something out of Ryback, which is, kudos to Bray Wyatt.
That was definitely a pleasant surprise.
Yeah.
I think most people felt as though that match way over-delivered. And I agree, yeah. Dolph and Sheamus was a very physical, very exciting match. Dolph's an idiot.
Philip's an idiot.
for what he did at the end, but he completely split his face open.
I don't know.
And for what purpose, I don't know. I mean, we can obviously talk about the Lana situation, but first of all, again, on Payback, you said you liked the Dolph match.
I liked the Dolph match. The Cena match, I liked the match. I liked the story build when I thought about it after. When I first saw it, I was kind of with Lana coming and screaming, he quits. I thought, oh my god, it's just going to be drama and story. But then I thought about it, I'm like, that's what you need to build right now, is the drama and story. If you're going to do the turn, which they continue to build to, they continue to do things with it. So
they did it. I mean, they did it on Monday. Yeah, that match was good. Rusev has really been impressing me.
Yeah.
With just his overall character, the overall performance. He was always good, but lately it's just been a next level in terms of, believe it or not, his selling is actually his big strong suit.
Yeah, well, I think it's improved from when he first came in, and I think they're willing to put him in there with top guys and be like, okay, here you go. As a young guy, you're gonna learn.
But again, we're gonna have to talk about this Lana stuff here in a few minutes. Other highlights of the pay-per-view, the tag match, very good.
Oh my gosh.
Not as good as the last one, obviously, but still very good.
Okay, but can I talk about 2 points about New Day? No.
Go for it.
I need to bring these up because
I like talking about those guys.
Yeah. I'm not going to go into New Day sucks versus New Day rocks, but the finish of the third fall was Xavier Woods. I haven't seen anything like that since the 1980s, and it's brilliant to be able to do it without a mask on. Total rip off of the Killer Bees finish that they used to do.
And the ref can't tell them apart.
Well, you could never see his head.
I guess they both do have dreads, don't they?
Yeah, you couldn't see you couldn't even see the back of Xavier Woods' head, though.
That's true. I watched it just being like, okay, so they can't tell two black guys apart.
No, but you
like
look
that's being black is the same as wearing a Killer Bees mask.
No. But if you actually go back and watch the end of the third fall, you can never see Xavier Woods' face or the back of his head.
That's true. Okay, so you put that one in perspective for me.
Yeah, it's not a race thing. And I like the idea that he had been not physically in the match, and he snuck in the last fall and rolled out, and it was done so perfectly.
So
the timing on that was good.
What you're telling me is if Kofi Kingston was giving you a blowjob, you would believe that it was actually Xavier Woods.
No, that's not what I'm saying. Can we also bring up their post-match promo after? When they're sitting with the champagne glasses, drinking milk, claiming to be role models, and their reaction to being put in the first ever tag team elimination chamber match.
What was it? We don't spit, we don't swear, and we don't complain?
Yeah.
And then he ended up spitting out the milk. And then, obviously, if this wasn't a PG show, you could say something a little bit worse. And then they complained about being put in the match.
Yeah.
So just complete liars, complete, contradictory of everything they say. I think these three guys are great. Xavier has really, really impressed me.
And their in-ring is tight, though.
Oh, of course it is. No, of course it is. It's one of those things that they just managed to turn it around somehow, some way. I gotta say that, it's their talent. And obviously WWE just giving them the green light to just tweak it just enough to be heels, And they really haven't changed much about it at all, other than they're not trying to be baby faces anymore, obviously.
No, they're embracing the heeldom.
Yeah,
without redoing the Nation of Domination.
They're embracing the fact that they're hypocrites.
Yeah.
Other things happening on Payback. Can we talk about just the main event? Is there anything else from the show that you thought was worthy of getting a mention on Wrestling Audio Revolution War Weekly?
Well, Neville and Barrett, another really good match. They've done that match 4 times now, and it's been good every time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was a good match.
So I have hopes for Neville.
Okay, we'll talk about, again, when we get into Raw, we can talk to him a little bit.
I had hope for Neville, yeah.
Yeah, I'm not saying that you shouldn't. I'm just going to ask a few questions. That's all. I'm just here to ask questions.
All right.
But anyway, the main event, an entertaining match, I thought.
Yeah.
All 4 guys worked pretty well together. I figured there would be a spot in the match where the Shield sort of at least got together long enough to do the power bomb. I don't know if I actually said that on the air, but I was definitely thinking it.
And that's exactly what happened, and it was there was that moment, and the crowd wants it so bad.
The crowd bought it, yeah. The crowd ate it right up.
Yeah.
But they also seemed to like the idea when they all turned on Seth after that, when he went to do the fist and all that stuff.
They just stood there.
Yeah, they liked that too. So again, it wasn't one of those things where the crowd was really hot for one thing, but shit on what they actually did. They seemed to like it.
No.
Dean Ambrose, the booking of Dean Ambrose continues to be perplexing, I would say. But as far as the match goes, it was good. What do you think of the idea of Seth using the pedigree finish?
I thought it was funny. I understand what it was supposed to be. I'm fine with it because Triple H doesn't work it that much anymore. So I think it's fine. It's kind of like they're going to make him like he's their boy, and that's what it is, and it's a kiss-up.
Vintage update I did with my good brothers, Shotgun Shan, Ernest Matthews. We talked all about our experiences at Global Wars Night 2, an incredible show. Sean Cunningham, we need to find a way to change your girlfriend's birthday.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. I was.
Can you do that? Is there can you go down to the legal office or something, or
I'm sure you could.
The government office and say, I want to change not my name, but I want to change my birth date. Maybe sometime in just I don't know, June even.
Yeah, June.
Middle of June.
Middle of June. We're not worried about that. Yeah, unfortunately, I wasn't able to attend with you guys, and I wish I could have been there. I believe that ROH is coming back in later in the summer or the early fall, and if that happens, I would like to join the rest of the crew at that point.
Now let's talk about Monday Night Raw.
Oh, okay.
Was it bad?
It had good moments and bad moments to it.
Yeah, I thought the good moments were pretty good. I liked the Dean versus Bray match.
Yep.
I'm liking the whole spot of Bray doing the senton off the apron.
I like the stuff with Lana just because it's something they've never done before. It's new.
They couldn't have picked a worse guy.
The guy doing it is not the right choice.
Sean Cunningham's birthday.
Thank you.
This is the date that Luke Force said on War Weekly that the Dolph Ziggler-Lana pairing will fail.
And here's why
Mark my words.
It will fail.
If that's really where they're going. I don't know, but there was an element of that on Monday that really felt like the whole thing's a setup.
Yeah. Because you've never come out and said they were dating. You've never come out and said anything about the relationship between Rusev and Lana. So it kind of leaves it very open-ended to be a setup. But on the other hand, if she's denouncing Russia and all this, you're continuing the USA versus Russia angle, which will work till the end of time. This is where I worry.
Could she find a bigger geek? Really? Could she?
No. Well, yeah, but...
Yeah, she probably could, but...
Look at that locker room. It could
at
be
least
Zack Ryder, for God's sake.
Zach is cooler than Dolph.
Really?
No question about it.
Okay.
Yeah, no question about that.
Okay, well, let me see. Just for sake of argument, can I find a bigger geek than Dolph?
And don't say Heath. I think Heath is cooler than Dolph.
No, I wasn't going to say Heath. I really was.
Dude, okay, the guy has, first of all, he has a pink streak in his hair.
Yeah, I know. I'm not.
First of all, in his blonde spaghetti bowl that he has on top of his head.
Yeah.
On top of that, he talks like a 13-year-old girl Texas.
Yes.
Whatevs.
Yeah.
Grown men should not say whatevs. I'm just putting it out there, folks. Is Dolph a great in-ring competitor, wrestler, superstar, whatever you want to call him today?
Yes.
Yes, he is. Is he a good choice to put with the hottest girl in the company? Absolutely not. They could not have had less chemistry on night one. I'm just saying. No,
I'm not disagreeing with you. Hell, you could have put her with Dean or Roman. It would have done more.
Could have put her with Dean Malenko and it would have done better.
Oh, jeez.
You could have put her with Roman from Days of Our Lives and it would have done a lot better.
What?
Okay?
1980s Monster Soap Star back.
I don't even know if that actor's alive anymore.
Yes.
The original Roman?
Yes.
Okay, well, anyway.
Anyway, onward.
That's my take on the whole Lana thing. Rusev has been great. Yep. He's great in the segments. Lana is by far the best female actor they've ever had. And I see the reason why they are gaga. I think everybody that has ever seen her in a miniskirt knows why they're gaga.
Yeah, never mind the other pictures that are circulating.
Right, she has the charisma. And like you say, it's something new, you're right. It's something to see on Raw that you haven't seen before. With that said, you do realize, Sean, and I'm sure you do, because you're a smart guy, there is a bridge you can cross where you can't come back.
Yeah, I know.
And I certainly hope at the very least they just remember that and think, okay, when we say she's American and she's CJ and she's Sunny, essentially, 2015, we can never go back. If we need something for Rusev, we can never go back to this amazing act that everybody loved, that drew so much heat. We can't ever go back to it.
Yeah, I know.
It's risky. It's risky.
I know.
But Rusev has been impressing me. Lana is talented, and I've always said there's a possibility with her natural accent that we may see, the best stuff yet. When he said go back to where you came from, he meant fucking Palm Beach. So that's why she looked so happy when she came back.
Yeah, Palm Beach is not a bad place to be either.
Not when you're Lana.
No.
It's not bad to live there either when Lana's walking around. But anyways.
We digress slightly.
Yeah, I don't even think they live in Palm Beach. They bought a house somewhere, but I know that she's from Florida. And, yeah, the legendary C.J. Perry.
Nice.
But, yeah, the whole thing, it scares me. But nonetheless, nothing you can do about it now. But it seems like, right now anyway, they're leaving it open that we could go back and have this be a swerve. It's definitely not out of the realm of possibility.
And you know what? If it is, then I'm fine with that too.
The big story, though, obviously, from Monday being the Raw debut of a man that, quite frankly, fit right in. A man that walked in and didn't seem to have a single nerve, didn't seem to have a single deer in the headlights look.
Nope.
Walked in, was comfortable, was confident, got on the mic with John Cena, even got the better of John Cena, was scripted to get the better of John Cena, which is very interesting, and laid him out. He did not have a match. We're talking, of course, about Kevin Owens, the man that defended his NXT title against Sami Zayn on the NXT special a few days ago, which we're going to talk about here in a few minutes here on War Weekly. Myself, the Commissioner Sean Cunningham, the birthday boy. It is his birthday today.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Sean, for fitting us in and for a little party and a show and all those things.
Oh,
I know that your time is pretty filled up today, so I do appreciate you taking the time. But a really good segment with Kevin Steen and a really good segment with John Cena. I've obviously been really enjoying the open invitational John Cena US
Can we
challenge.
keep that going for like another 3 months at least?
Yeah.
Please.
Yeah. And really find it in advance and really build towards whoever it is that's going to beat him,
It's going to mean something.
Yeah, it really is.
That's what excites me about that.
Yeah, whoever beats him is going to be winning something. It's not going to be the usual can of Diet Coke that the U.S. title had been for so many years. It's going to mean something. He has done wonders with that thing in a very short amount of time.
Yep.
But I mean, I don't know what's going on with Owens because this guy has the gimmick. You know what his gimmick is? Kevin Steen.
He's an asshole.
Yes, but
that's his gimmick.
He's an asshole, but he's Kevin Steen. That's everything he says seems like Kevin Steen saying it.
It's Kevin Steen with a different name because WWE likes to own shit. Yes.
So yes, Owens comes out and loved the back and forth with him and John Cena. He was taking no shit from Cena.
Nope.
Cena was treating him like a youngster, a rookie, and he said, I started 15 years ago. In fact, I've done this longer than you. Now, this has been a subject of many debates online, and this is what I can tell you about this, okay? John Cena did start professionally before Kevin Steen, 1 year before Kevin Steen. However, Kevin Steen, the only reason he hadn't started professionally is because he was not of age. He has been training longer than John Cena. He just couldn't actually wrestle professionally
until he was 18
because of his age. So that's the whole gimmick there. Kevin Steen has been training as a wrestler longer than John Cena. So that's actually true. A great segment. I thought it was a one and done. It felt like a one and done. It felt like something just to give a little extra boost to the NXT show this week. They did announce, come the end of Raw, that Kevin Owens will be facing John Cena at the Elimination Chamber special, exclusively on the WWE Network.
Nice.
And, Sean, again, what were your thoughts on this segment and your thoughts on this match? How is this one going to play out?
I liked the segment. The segment did everything it was supposed to, and it built Wednesday inadvertently. Because that clearly, if they're going to build a John Cena versus Kevin Owens match and put it on the event next week, my question is, how much longer is Kevin Owens going to be in NXT?
It's true, and I don't have any insight on that. I don't think that him being on this show necessarily means for sure he's now a main roster guy and he can't go back.
No, that's also true.
I just think this is a shot in the arm for NXT. I don't think there's any plans of Owens going anywhere right now.
No.
Although, let me say, like I said a few seconds ago, he 100% seemed like he fit in And him on Raw right now would really freshen up that show.
Yep. Well,
Kevin Owens is by far the best promo in WWE right now on any show.
Well, and let's talk about this, the idea that the Elimination Chamber special, we're going to call it, it seems like an extra show that was tacked on a couple of weeks ago in terms of, like, I don't even think it was on WWE's radar a month ago. And they want to use it as a network special to prop the network. The show seemed very, like, let's add a show and make it network exclusive. Like, it didn't seem like it was in the plans for very long.
No. You're going to see a lot more of that, though.
Oh, I know.
Yeah, and as far as that goes, Elimination Chamber, I mean, that's probably one of the better things you could do in terms of spiking interest, is an exclusive Elimination Chamber show. I think people like the Chamber. I really do.
Yep.
I do think there's such thing as burnout and overkill. But if it's a free show on the network, you know.
Yeah, well, and they didn't do the Chamber in February, and
right.
You know. So that's a positive in that sense.
Right. Well, I mean, look at the King of the Ring thing. I mean, They just announced that with less than 24 hours, you know.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you're going to see a lot more of this stuff where they just, without proper promotion or anything, they're just going to say, okay, at least with this one, you have a few weeks. It's not like they said, on Tuesday.
No.
But the fact is, they have this network, and they can pretty much do whatever they want. Like, if they want to put a show on tonight, Sunday night with 3 hours warning on Twitter, they can do it. They can.
I almost expect them to do something.
It's not out of the realm of possibility.
Or do something where they do an angle on Raw where a title is held up and then say, tune into the network tomorrow night for,
sure.
And
you can do that.
Yep.
So, again, Elimination Chamber, it's got some interesting matches, but just focusing on the Kevin Owens match quickly here.
Yes.
You could really go either way. Have they said for sure it's for the U.S. title?
I don't believe they have said either way.
Okay, if you can keep the titles out of this match,
Owens can go over.
Owens can absolutely go over. And I see nothing wrong with them doing little things like that now and then to give NXT a shot in the arm if this is actually going to be what they're saying it's going to be, its own touring brand, and it's going to be the alternative brand in WWE. They're going to move on from it just being a developmental. So it seems like they've got sort of they've been sort of reorganizing that whole thing.
Well, and I'm happy to see that.
Right, but I mean, if that's the case, and they've brought in Rhino,
yep.
Who, by the way, I mean, let's just sort of merge right now into our Elimination Chamber talk. We can also sort of talk about the NXT special.
Yes.
Because Rhino obviously was on that special, and I thought he did a great job on the pay-per-view in a match with a guy that can't lace his boots.
No, in Baron Corbin.
Yeah, but Rhino hasn't looked that good in ages. And, that's really interesting that there's been this shift now with Triple H in charge of NXT. There's been this shift of, okay, we're willing to work with guys that are not developmental talent, that are veterans, finding a role for them. Rhino is not exclusive to WWE.
No.
And from everything that I've heard over the last 24 hours or so, Samoa Joe is not exclusive to WWE either.
Well, he's still booked on the Smash show.
And he's still fulfilling all of his independent dates, and it looks like his deal is very much like the Rhino deal. So the fact that you're bringing in these guys and you're sort of changing your mentality about NXT, making it a brand of its own, which means you got to have some star power, you got to have some veterans in there as well, mixed in with your developmental talent, mixed in with your guys like Balor and Zayn that are completely ready, like Owens, in order for it to be a brand that you could send on the road. And it's not going to be running huge buildings or anything, but still, I mean,
no, you're right.
You've got to have enough star power to be able to fill those buildings,
You're filling anywhere between 1,000 to 5,000 seats with NXT.
Elimination Chamber, I don't see anything wrong if there's no belts on the line.
Yeah,
with Kevin Owens.
The US and an NXT belt out of that.
Kevin Owens, doing some real underhanded shit and ends up pinning John Cena. Now, does that mean that now there has to be another rematch? I don't know. That's a good question. Not right away. Not right away.
No.
But you could keep some tension between those guys, that goes on for like a year. Or I don't know how long they plan on keeping Owens there. Again, he's so talented. It's going to be hard for them. And the people like him. This is the funny thing.
But we need to talk about what they teased at the end of NXT Unstoppable.
Yeah.
I think Owens going to be there for a little while longer.
There's other good stuff on Elimination Chamber.
Yes.
That we need to sort of talk about as well. I mean, the tag match I think should be unique anyway, to say the least.
Yep.
And the fact that Ambrose is getting the world title, shot, the next world title shot, he's getting a singles match.
Good for him. I'm very excited to see that after what we saw at the end of Raw.
Oh, and the booking of him was very suspect on Monday for a guy that's getting a world title match.
Yeah.
To have him lose to Bray. Yes, there was interference, but
And I'm sure that,
Bray's in a feud with Ryback. You know what I mean?
but I'm sure that the idea is that you continue to screw Ambrose over and over again, and Ambrose just keeps coming back like that guy that won't go away.
Yeah, that's one way to do it. There's another way to do it, and it's called letting the guy win.
No, I know. I'm not disagreeing with that either.
Especially on a show where he's going to be announced as the world champion contender.
But I enjoyed them bringing an angle back all the way around from last September and referencing it, and I was happy to see that.
Yeah. Now, do you think it's completely out of the realm of possibility for maybe a short reign that Dean could somehow come out of this one? Especially with everything going on with Kane and all that stuff. I don't know.
Absolutely not. I think it's entirely plausible they're going to go with Dean because Dean is hot.
He's hotter than Seth, that's for sure.
Yep. It's hotter than Seth, and I think they'd like a hot champion, even if it's only for a month or two. They'd like a hot babyface champion for a little bit. I think that would feel good.
But the long-term angle I am hearing, though, is that it's going to be Brock and Seth at SummerSlam, so maybe that's why I'm saying a short reign with Dean.
Yeah, no, I agree.
And then in typical Ric Flair style, he, wins it back.
Yeah.
After a month or two.
Yeah, and that's what I think may happen. I mean, you still got Money in the Bank to think about. You still got, which is the next quote-unquote pay-per-view to come in after this.
But anyway, the one thing that would suck, though, is the fact that this is kind of, as you say, I mean, this is kind of a throwaway show in a lot of ways. It's just something that they've thrown on the calendar for the WWE Network. And for Dean Ambrose, who I do see as, really, I mean, in a lot of ways, the biggest star moving forward that they could have.
Yep.
I feel like his first world title reign, I'd like to see it treated a little more special. But at the same time, knowing WWE, I could totally see them just putting it on him right now. And again, just for a few months, and then have Seth win.
Well, but understand, Seth winning matches the way he has won them is not really helping Seth.
What else? Anything else about the Elimination Chamber show?
Not right yet. I'm interested in the tag match just to see how they're going to do spots.
Yeah.
With that many guys. And the IC title, but they haven't announced who's in the pod yet.
There has been talk that it's going to be Sheamus. Is that sort of, from watching the television, the way that you think they're going to go?
It seems
he's going to be rewarded for ending Daniel Bryan's career?
Unfortunately, yes.
Now, you mentioned Neville.
Yes.
What are your thoughts of his current dancing partner now?
Why?
Is that a good thing, though, potentially, just to put him in this feud? It's one that he can definitely, go over on, rather than put him in the IC title match and have him not win. Is it better for him to be in a situation where he can at least get the win, or is the whole association with Bo Dallas just dragging him down? What do you think?
I think associating him with Bo Dallas drags him down a little bit. I'm hoping long-term it leads to better things, but we have to remember that we go back in NXT lore almost 2 years ago now. Neville beat Bo Dallas. So they work together. There's a comfort level there. The matches will be good.
For me, it's like, if this had been his first feud coming into WWE, it would have been fine. But it's the fact that they positioned him a little bit too high, and now there's nowhere to go but down. A week ago he was giving John Cena the red arrow, and not even losing the match, like actually having him pinned and having somebody else come and screw it up for him.
And now you're going to fight Bo Dallas.
And now 1 week later, you're in a feud with not even fighting Bo Dallas. You've already beat Bo Dallas on SmackDown this past week.
That's right.
It's not that. It's the fact that now you're in a feud with him. I mean, that's the one thing that sort of has me feeling like he's going to be dragged down a little bit by that.
Yeah.
But again, if he goes over and he looks strong, the people like him. They're going to have a hard time holding him down just because the people really like watching him wrestle.
He is very over.
Well, he's very talented.
Yes. Do you find it interesting? I know I do. The chants are not necessarily for Neville, but they're for NXT.
I mean, they definitely know. Triple H definitely knows who that audience is. He knows what they're reading on the internet.
Yeah.
He knows about the guys that they like. And again, this past Wednesday, we saw more of that with the debut of Samoa Joe coming out at the end. But first of all, what did you think of the main event?
Are we now we're now talking about NXT? Are we moving
take
forward?
over.
That match was good. It did what it was supposed to do. I feel so bad for Sammy right now, especially knowing he's hurt too.
Yeah, definitely a gutsy performance.
Yeah.
To go out there and do the match that he did with his shoulder, the way it is. He is going to have surgery on it.
And that's so unfortunate because he's so close, clearly, to being a star on the main roster. I don't know how much longer you can keep him there. He's such a talent, and he and Owens again put on an amazing match.
I like the fact that they've held back a lot because the first match was their first match. It was the first of the series, right?
Yeah.
So you don't want to give everything. And I thought they did just enough, and they really told the story really well in that first match. And this one continued. I mean, there seemed to be a little bit of weirdness in the finish, a little miscommunication about, the referees keeping Owens away but not ringing the bell. And I didn't understand what was going on for the last few minutes of that match, to be completely honest with you. But I thought it was interesting that, it was the complete opposite of their first match. It was Sammy getting all the offense, essentially, beating the shit out of Owens from pillar to post. And then we again had the finish when he got powerbombed on the apron, and that was sort of the beginning of the end. And then we heard some music, and I guess everybody knew that Samoa Joe was going to be showing up at the end of this pay-per-view, or the end of this special. I didn't watch the show live. I checked it out the next morning. I had honestly completely forgotten that he was going to be there, so I was a little shocked. I didn't watch the show live, and I was going to watch it in the morning, but before I could even do that, just sort of going on Facebook, and everybody's sharing the picture of Owens and Samoa Joe face to face. And I was like, yeah, oh shit, I forgot. He's coming to WWE. What did you think? Again, the crowd definitely knew who he was, and are you as surprised as I am that at least for right now, on May 24th, 2015, Sean Cunningham's birthday, he is being referred to as, drumroll, Samoa Joe?
I am surprised that he's being referred to as Samoa Joe. Secondly, I am surprised he's even anywhere near the WWE. I really believe that he would be the guy that would never go. He would be like this generation's Sting and never go.
Right. For me, it was always about whether they would want him. It was never really about whether he'd want to go. It was about whether they would want a guy that looked the way he did, that was as old as he was. It didn't matter if Steve Austin was constantly saying, hire Samoa Joe. Triple H, again, another guy that's been a big fan of Samoa Joe for years. It was always Vince that was going to be holding up that deal.
Well, but then again, who runs NXT? B, where's Samoa Joe going?
He's going to fight Kevin Owens. That's
NXT.
Really. I can't tell you anything past that because.
Well, no, but that's my whole point is he's not going to the main roster right now.
Right.
He's going to NXT, where Triple H is the boss. Yeah.
So he's going to have the freedom, which is just unheard of in this day and age. He's going to have the freedom to work on NXT and be a part of obviously a big part of the show. He was the last thing anyone saw as it went off the air last night. And he's going to be working, obviously, a program it's going to be King Kong versus Godzilla,
It is.
Owens versus Samoa Joe. I think everyone's excited about. Joe looked jacked. He looked in great shape. And here he is. He's shown up in NXT. We had heard it was coming. We hadn't heard anything official from either side. But here he is.
When I first heard it, I'm like, I had heard about it prior, like you had. And I just was skeptical at first.
Again, I think the first thing that we think about is why now? Because, there's been opportunities in the past. His last contract extension with TNA, he was trying to get into WWE, and they didn't have any interest.
Which I don't understand.
And AJ Styles, I think it was kind of the same thing with both guys, actually. It wasn't that they said we have no interest. It's that they offered them something which showed them we have no interest. They offered them an insultingly low number.
Yeah.
They're making more in TNA. So that's why AJ Styles isn't in WWE right now. It's because he was offered an insulting amount of money. Yeah. So he said, no, not worth it. I'll go do something else. I know some other people that want me. And now, arguably, after that, he went on to be sort of the most talked about wrestler in the world after the G1 last summer. Everyone was talking about AJ Styles' performances in the G1, match after match after match, making just all kinds of money. Between him and the Bucks, they've got to be like the most in-demand guys on the indies right now, period. They can work every single night if they wanted to. There's somebody that would be willing to pay those guys good money every single night of every single week of every single year for right now. So Joe, I mean, the fact that nobody was coming out and denying the rumors obviously made people feel like, yeah, this is done. This is happening. Joe's coming in. But it still was a little shocking to see him come in the position right away, straight off the bat. And what do they do from here? I don't know. How long will he be around? I don't know. But I'm excited by that. And this working relationship that they've got now, very, very much about what made Japan so superior was the fact that their roster wasn't just the guys you see on their website. They would be willing to work with anyone, bring anyone in, not even just bring them in, put them over.
Yep, and that's smart business at the end of the day, too.
It's smart, but it's also like not the WWE way of doing business at all. You know, like the fact that they brought in Ricochet last year to win the Super Junior, and he's a Dragon Gate guy. And you know what? He went in there, he won the Super Junior, he got his title shot, he lost it, and we never saw him again. All that time invested in this guy that wasn't a part of your roster. I love the idea that they are willing to at least do this with somebody like Samoa Joe. And again, Rhino, I can't say enough about how good he looked on Wednesday.
And he's looked good before that.
The thing with Joe, though, they may have it in their minds of, and maybe this is the way of keeping Vince comfortable, is just like it's a short-term thing. The goal is to put over Owens. You know, he's going to go in there and he's going to have a great match with Kevin Owens, and then he's going to ride off into the sunset, you know. Yep. But it's all the intangibles. It's all the things you can't predict. How's the crowd going to react? If Wednesday is any indication, they're going to go crazy every time he comes out.
Well, no, and that's the thing. If Vince pays enough attention and the crowd goes nuts every single time.
Now we're talking.
Yeah.
But at the same time, because it's NXT, there's always that worry that, you know.
Oh, it's only NXT, it'll be fine.
It's NXT, okay, I'm going to show them why NXT is, you know, inferior. And we've already seen a lot of that when guys come up to the main roster where Vince automatically is just like, okay, welcome to the big leagues. I'm going to show you why you're just a very small fish in this pond. Instead of, you know, bringing guys in and making some stars. Paging the Ascension, really. I mean,
Ascension.
Say what you will about those guys, and definitely if I were calling people up from NXT, they would not be my first choice. But at the same time, I mean, they were everything Vince likes, and they brought them up and buried them.
Yep.
And they've been burying them for months.
And still doing it.
It's like they'd never even seen them before. Yep. They brought them up and they're like, well, these guys suck. It's like, well, haven't you fucking been watching? Or do you just look at a still of who's got, and check out the stats of who's got, you know, the tallest frame?
Yeah.
So
I don't get it. Well, at least Neville's not being treated that way.
But nonetheless, if this is just a one-off with Joe for now, you never know what it could turn into because of how the crowd reacts.
They brought Brian Kendrick back a few months ago to do.
There's another guy.
A match with Balor or Tommy?
I think he worked a few matches, but I know he worked Balor.
I think he worked Balor, and it was awesome.
And I know he was doing some training there as well.
Yep.
Like, the NXT thing has really been great, not just, again, for all these young stars and for the guys that are coming over from Japan or the guys that are, you know, coming from wherever. It's really good for a few choice select veterans that can still go. It's going to be a way to get back on TV to show you still have it. Like, yep. Rhino, for me, is somebody now after Wednesday that I think most people are thinking there's a spot for him on the main roster.
Yeah, you could get a run out of him.
You could get a run out of him. Exactly, because the intensity was there. Yeah, exactly. You don't have a lot of guys that have that recognition on your roster right now. And again, there's nothing wrong with bringing him in for a short run on the main roster.
No.
Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn, to me, will be headlining WrestleMania one day.
Yeah, WrestleMania 34, 35, yeah.
Problem is, neither of those guys are particularly young.
No.
You know, they're not like, you know, early 20s or anything like that. They're in their 30s. I think they're in their early 30s. Yeah. So it's like one of those things where in the next few years, I really do see those guys being at the very top, if there's any justice, because both of them belong there. Yeah. Absolutely. And their chemistry is just incredible. And I know that comes from the fact that
years of working together.
Years and years. I mean, they had their very first match together.
Yeah.
And they're the best of friends, but they've got a special chemistry that you just can't create in a lab. You can't create in a booking meeting.
Nope.
And again, I'm loving the fact that Kevin Owens has been given the freedom, because you can tell this guy, he may not be writing the promos word for word, but he's definitely got some influence, and he's definitely gearing it towards natural.
Yeah. So talented and so ready to be a top guy now.
So that's the deal. Samoa Joe is in, Sean. We saw it with our own eyes. Hell has frozen over.
I think so.
Joe has shown up in NXT. Now it's a matter of what do they do with him? And if he starts having these kick-ass matches and he looks to be in shape and the crowd's going nuts, this very short, non-exclusive run I think
become exclusives.
Could turn into a lot more, because how are you going to justify a guy like that not being on the main roster when you look at who's there?
It's so exciting to see some of this talent that WB's been very kind of like, on finally kind of getting the door. Good for the people that run NXT.
You really do need to, and I think I've said this before on the show, just as a final thought here. You really do, as much as it's cool to think about the future, we need to get through the present right now.
Yeah.
You can be constantly building the future and constantly grooming.
And as a good business person, you should be.
Yes, you should. You need to. And you can constantly be seasoning these guys, but you need a group of guys that are ready right now to carry you through the next few years. If they're in their mid-30s, that's okay, because you know what? The time frame is only going to be 2 or 3, maybe 4 years that they're going to be sort of in that top mix. AJ Styles belongs in WWE. Now, I don't think he's going to be coming to WWE anytime soon now, because he's found a better way of life.
Yeah.
But, I mean, the fact that he's not a part of this group right now is a travesty. They should have jumped all over him. But, again, the mentality then was like, well, he's 35. You know, it's like we need guys that are in their early 20s to carry this company and be the future. That's fine to have those guys, but you do need a crop of guys that are ready to be the present.
You need guys that you didn't train your way to bring something different every so often to your product.
And we're getting that with NXT. We're definitely getting that with NXT, whether we're talking about Finn Balor, whether we're talking about Hideo Itami, who I heard is also out with a surgery as well. So I heard he's out for a while, and that's
so sad.
That sucks, because he was just starting to hit his stride.
He was gonna be the guy to face Owens.
Yeah, that's definitely the way they were building that up, no question.
Yeah.
So again, they're very sad about that. But I mean, you have this awesome crop of talent and guys that have, like you say, learned a different way and have brought all these different things to the table. And you just need a crop of those guys that can be your guys for the next few years, because the people you have they're just not there yet. The ones you want to run with. I mean, there's obviously the Seths and there's always the Deans and all that stuff.
And they're great. But and you have these really young kids who you're teaching, who are green. You need something in the middle, and that's what Joe and guys like, well, Rhino's older, but guys like Joe and Itami and Balor and Owens and Sami Zayn represent.
Well, and we saw how big the fan base was for CM Punk and Daniel Bryan. You know, the two guys that would fit right into that same category as just being indie guys, and, you know, that doesn't translate to WWE. I think we've learned that's complete bullshit. That does translate to WWE. It translated on Wednesday immediately to that crowd, that's for sure.
Yeah.
And the more people see him, and if he's kicking ass like Joe tends to do in that ring, I mean, people are going to take notice, and it's going to be like, how can we really not sign this guy up and have him do a run at least for the next few years? You know, if it's only 3 or 4 years, that's okay. If he retires after that, it's okay, WWE. It's okay that you brought somebody in and only got 4 years out of him, because it's all about how good were those 4 years. How much did that guy do to help get your guys ready, to help make your guys look better, to help give your guys better matches, to help draw money? If he retires in 4 years, it's okay. And that's my final thought. Sean, anything you want to say before we get out of here? Happy birthday, by the way.
Thank you very much. And as far as a final thought, we all worry about the status of WWE in a couple of years. Maybe looking at NXT and where it's going, maybe we don't need to be as worried as we thought.
No, the future is bright for this company in terms of talent. It's just going to be, again, a matter of putting Vince on the same wavelength as Triple H in terms of the vision. You know what I mean? So thank you, Sean, for being with us. Have a wonderful birthday. Do you mind telling the audience how old you are?
No, I don't mind. I turned 8.
So from myself, from the birthday boy, Sean Cunningham, we would like to say peace. We would like to say love. Joe's going to kill you. And Shanzi, tell him the rest.
Wrestling Audio Revolution.
Champion!
insolence helps me cross the line. Every time I'm confronted, I'm unafflicted by my actions. Suffering is the result of a gain. Victory at the cost of pain. Like a freight train, you're tied to the tracks. No way to escape, there's no coming back.